This is Dudes Who Bet Sports.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Dudes Who Bet Sports. Welcome to a Thursday, a big Thursday here on the channel. A lot going on today. Of course, it's Travers Week, but we're going to kick it off, Papa Dude, with a lot of NFL talk. How excited are you for the season? I know preseason is getting going. It started, so we kind of got a little bit of data to kind of talk about as we go through the teams.
A little bit. Not as excited as I was last week talking about college. The NFL is not my strong suit, that's for sure. It's tough, some of these games. I think some of these divisions are going to be very interesting, though, this year. It's going to be some of these schedules are going to decide a lot of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be very tough, I think, to pick some of these. We'll go through division by division. We'll talk about the win totals as well. If you're excited for college football, well, we will have a college football segment on the show today because there are games happening on Saturday. Papa, it's always the weirdest thing walking around Travers Day and then randomly checking your phone to see if the random game that just kicked off, who won, who lost. Yeah. It's always strange. It feels like it shouldn't start this weekend. It feels like next weekend is when this thing should start.
Well, it really doesn't start this weekend. They're pretty bad, these games. I think one of them is bettable, though. So we'll get to that in a little bit.
All right, I like that. So that's a little teaser. We'll also talk a little bit of baseball. I got the Cardinals on today. Got to wear the Cardinals when they do something good because it doesn't happen very often. So we'll talk a little bit of baseball, and then we'll round out with a little bit of hockey as well. So we got a little bit of everything. Rob White asked, before we get going here, he says, does Papa Dude have a favorite NFL rookie quarterback this year? Of course, Caleb Williams is a rookie. Jaden Daniels, the Heisman winner from last year, a rookie. Bo Nix. I mean, you got a few. Who do you like?
Well, you got to look at the teams.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, that's the first thing. Sometimes these guys, they get on just horrible teams and they get beat up and, they lose their confidence. So none of them are on very good teams. I really like Bo Nix a lot because of his age, his maturity. He's a pro-style quarterback. I like him a lot in that Denver uniform. I think I did see yesterday they've announced him as a starter, I believe.
Yes, he is going to start. Also, just real quick, I'll jump in because I heard his NFL Rookie of the Year odds have went way down. He's like 5-1 now, and I think he was around like 12, 13, 14-1 before. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I've always liked him. I thought he had a great year in Oregon, so I like him a lot. I'm interested to see what Jaden Daniels can do in Washington. I think that's going to be a major difference. And really, I don't think the Bears are that far off if Williams can do anything at all. I think they're kind of an interesting team too. But I would go with Bo Nix as my favorite so far.
I think it's a two-part answer. Right now, right at this moment, he might be the most prepared, but 3-4 years down the road, who knows? It might be one of these other ones. So
absolutely,
we'll see. But listen, we did have a quarterback last year in C.J. Stroud, a rookie, come in and just tear it up and look great. So
on a team that wasn't any good.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And but anyway, we'll get into it a little bit more. Let's pull it up. I'm going to throw up the win totals now. We'll just go division by division. We'll just start off with the AFC East. We'll start the AFC, go down, then go to the NFC. AFC East, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Bills, and the Patriots. Obviously, the four teams in it. It feels very much like the Patriots are not going to be anywhere near the discussion. The other three, maybe you can make a case here. Let's start with the Jets.
Okay.
What do you think of the Jets? What do you think of the team this year? Is it all about Aaron Rodgers staying healthy, basically?
Well, I think it is. I think they're decent otherwise. They're a sleeper team. What's he got left? We just don't know. That's a big question mark. Again, when you look at the NFL, any college NFL, high school even, you look at the schedule and you see who they drew. I wrote down 8 non-conference games. They have Houston at home. They have Indy at home. They have Seattle at home. They have the Rams at home. Well, they should win 2 of those for sure. And then why can't they beat Houston? They could. They got to go to San Francisco, Pittsburgh, Arizona, Jacksonville. Those are some of the teams they have to go to. I think it's all going to come down. Can they beat Buffalo and can they beat Miami?
Yeah.
And that's going to decide this division, who's going to beat who in the division. I don't like them as well as I do Buffalo and Miami, just because I just don't know about Rodgers if he can stay healthy. I just don't know. I got him at 8 or 9. If he's what he used to be, they could win the division. So they're a team you got to look at.
9.5 for their win total, and I'm kind of with you. I think they're going to be right there at the number. I think if he stays healthy all year, I think they'll go over that 9.5. Actually, I think they can get to double digits.
Yeah.
So when you look at the team last year, they were just horrific at quarterback, and they still were able to win some games.
Yeah.
Logically, you think, hey, if he stays healthy, they're going to be a little bit better, even if he's kind of 80%, 70% of what he was. Well, they could be good enough. So I went over on the Jets. I'm pretty high on them. The Dolphins, let's talk about them next. Kind of the team that we saw that, McDaniel's got them better. There's no doubt. They're fun to watch at times, but when they come in against the good teams, they've really struggled. They're another team sitting there at 9.5.
That's right. And they got 4 tough road games, non-conference.
Yep.
At the Rams, at Green Bay, at Houston, at Cleveland. And, then, of course, they'll have to go to Buffalo, and they'll have to go to the Jets as well. So when you look at their home schedule, Jacksonville and San Francisco are the toughest non-conference games coming in there. It's hard for me. I don't know how good Tua is. He had a great year last year, pretty good season. Mm-hmm. I've got him over. I kind of like them. If their defense can improve a little bit, they got to win some of these games against good teams, that's for sure. But I got them at 10 or 11.
I just don't believe in them. I don't know. I feel like we've seen this song and dance a couple times. It's like you get up against a good team, they get beat. They
bit you. They bit you. What? A couple of years ago, you picked them very highly, or was it last year?
Well, it was 2 years ago. I had them over 8.5, and they got to 9. But I had them also winning the division, and they didn't. Then last year, I kind of stayed away from them altogether, and I know that they probably bit some people again because it looked like they were in great shape, and they faded.
And they can't beat a good team.
No.
And Rob says they can't win in December. He's absolutely right, and that's when you got to win.
Yeah, I think I'll put it up on the. Yeah, Rob says they can't win in December, and I think that's the key to the whole thing.
It is.
They just fall apart, and I just can't confidently back them. I think if Rodgers stays healthy, the Jets are better than the Dolphins.
They could overtake them.
Yeah. Buffalo, of course, the other team you got to talk about. They've kind of been running this division. There's some question marks about this team, though. Diggs no longer there. They do have Josh Allen. Of course, that's huge. But the Bills, are they going to make it through? Are they going to make it another division championship?
I think this is it for them. I think they've got to do it this year.
I agree.
And so, again, looking at the games, they have a very difficult schedule. They've got Kansas City. It is in Buffalo, but those are the kind of games the Chiefs win. They just do. They get up for those and they win.
Yeah.
They got the Niners at home. They got to go to Baltimore. Got to go to Houston. Got to go to the Rams. Got to go to Detroit. They go to Seattle. They go to Indy. They got Arizona, Jacksonville, Tennessee. Who's the other one? They got somebody else at home. So their schedule's doable. Again, it's going to come down. Can they handle Miami? Can they handle the Jets? They've handled the Jets in the past. Miami, I think they split with them. This division's tough. It's a 3-team thing, and whoever beats the other ones is going to win it.
Yep.
So I got them the same as I do Miami. I've got them 10 or 11. So.
All right, I'm gonna go out on a limb. Well, before I do it, let's talk. I agree with the Bills. First of all, with each passing year, I get less and less excited about them, to be completely honest. And I thought the Bills were peak Bills when they lost that heartbreaking game in Kansas City in overtime, where they had them beat and they didn't beat them. I feel like they've steadily went this way. And if you were listening on podcast version, I was just pointing down, basically steadily, just kind of declining. I don't see them being better this year than they were last year. I will say that. So the Patriots, just quickly, we'll talk about them. This is a team that just looks abysmal. I've got to scroll all the way down. 4.5 wins. That's the lowest win total at Vegas right now for any team. I think they're favorites to be the last team to win a game in the NFL this season. So, I mean, what will happen here in New England? I mean, quickly, this is not good.
This is a total rebuild. I got them at 4.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think you go over 4.5. No.
I think they may be the worst team in the league.
I think so as well. So
I mean, they won 4 last year, didn't they?
Yeah, they were no good. They were no good last year. Look, the bottom line is, I was talking to Ryan Stillman, who's obviously been on the show, friend of the show, and he was saying, I really thought Belichick could keep that thing going, and I said, well, the thing is, I don't care if you're Bill Belichick or who, if you don't get players that can make plays, you're not going to win. Like, it's the NFL, right? And you watch those teams,
no matter where it is.
Even 2 years ago, you watch the Patriots and you go, well, who's any good on this offense?
No, they're not.
But like, who's going to make a play? They don't have anybody. So,
well,
it's worse now.
We're just seeing, and everybody just they want to put these coaches up on a pedestal, and they make them much more important than what they are.
Mm-hmm.
They are important. You gotta coach the team and your talent in the correct way.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a Tom Brady, you don't have a Peyton Manning back in the day, you don't have Patrick Mahomes, what would the Chiefs be without him?
Yeah,
that's just come on.
Yeah.
Coaches get way too damn much credit.
Well, you're talking about elite guys. They don't have like a Baker Mayfield.
Oh, they did.
Right? Or they don't have insert a middle of the road wide receiver. They don't even have that. So
I think he thought the kid from Alabama was going to be, and he did look kind of like Brady. He kind of did.
Well, and how
he's not.
His actual look, but that's what it ended.
Yeah. So yeah, they're in a complete rebuild. What a dynasty they had.
Yeah.
And who knows when they're going to get it back.
Yeah.
Sometimes you lose those dynasties and you don't get them back for a while.
Yeah. All right. I said it. I'm going to go out on a limb. I think the Jets are going to win the division.
I will bet against that, but that's okay.
Okay. Who are you taking?
Either Miami or Buffalo.
No, you have to pick one.
I'm going to stick with Buffalo one more time.
All right. I'm taking the Jets. You're taking Buffalo. I just feel like it is ready for the Jets to do it. And if Rodgers stays healthy, I think they're good enough. But
okay,
I get it if you don't want to do that.
No, I do not.
So, all right, let's go to the AFC North here. The Ravens, Bengals, Browns, and Steelers. What a mess.
It's a mess.
Okay, so to be fair, this is a mess in a good way, not a bad way.
Oh, yeah, they're all good.
Because
the Steelers don't look good, but we know what they are. So
5 weeks into the season, we're going to be like, the Steelers are 3-2. How? I guarantee it. Or maybe it'll take 8 weeks and they're 5-3 or something. But we will look up and we will go, they're doing it again, and I have no idea how. But
let's look at them first.
Okay, let's take the Steelers first. Yeah. Who again, like you said.
Well, if I was the Steelers.
Well, they have been awful. I mean, awful in the preseason.
Yeah, but they win 8 games, 9 games. They make the playoffs.
Oh, I know.
How, I do not know. But you look at the road games that are non-conference.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I was them, the way I used to look at it when I had a shitty team, which was a lot of times, or an average team, I wanted the games that I could not win. I don't care if you played them on the moon. You want them on the road.
Yeah, right.
Because you ain't going to win them anyway. You don't want those at home.
Right.
You want these iffy games at home, the ones that you can win. You don't want those on the road. Like they got to go to, or they got Dallas at home. Well, they might beat Dallas, but chances are they don't. Put them on the road. They got the Chiefs at home. They're not going to beat the Chiefs unless the Chiefs come in there and roll over.
Right.
You want them on the road. Just go on the road and play the Chiefs. Okay. they go to Atlanta. Can they beat Atlanta? They could in Pittsburgh, don't you think?
Yeah.
They got to go to Denver.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
again,
it's on the road.
yeah, another toss-up game.
Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Las Vegas. At Washington. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 road games that if those were at home, they might win all 5 of those.
Mm-hmm.
Possible. The non-conference road game that I don't think they can, could win anywhere, and that's Philly. They're at Philly. Mm-hmm. Their home games, they got the Chargers, Dallas, the Jets, the Giants, and the Chiefs at home. And then that gauntlet, Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Cleveland, I think they finish the season with 5 straight conference games, something like that.
Yeah. It's not going to be easy this year.
It's abysmal. I mean, it's ridiculous. Let me look at it real quick here. I've got them pulled up. There's it's after November 10th. They got Baltimore, at Cleveland, at Cincinnati, Cleveland, at Philadelphia, at Baltimore, Kansas City, Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean,
that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a row against playoff teams.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the schedule, it's like, how are they going to be that 9-8?
They can't.
They like, logically speaking, they can't. But I remember sitting here doing the same show 2 years ago when it was 2 years ago where they looked abysmal.
Yeah.
And you thought they're going to be the worst team in the league. And they found a way to win 9.
Yeah. I just don't see it.
I don't either.
I see it every year. I've got them like at 7. And I think they're pretty good if they win 7.
Well, there's comments about who, Kevin B said, who's the quarterback in Pittsburgh? This makes it even worse. It sounds like it's going to be Russell Wilson. Josh Fields has not been the guy to kind of step up and take that job. I mean, holy shit, Russell Wilson is horrific. We know that. We've seen that. Yeah. But the quarterback play at Pittsburgh has not been good for a long time. I really believed in Josh Fields until he couldn't beat out Russell Wilson. It's like, okay, I'm done. I'm shutting the door on him. He's done. So it's crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah. So I can't see them jumping up over these other teams. And again, you look at the other ones, it's a crapshoot. It's whoever's going to come through beating each other, just like we've said before. Baltimore's schedule is brutal.
Yeah.
They got Buffalo and Philly at home. But my goodness, they go to Kansas City. They go to Dallas. They go to the Chargers. They go to Houston. Tampa Bay won't be easy down there. I think their schedule is really brutal. I mean, and I'm never really sold on them.
Yeah, no, me neither.
They're just kind of iffy.
Yep.
If everything goes right and they get to rolling, they're hard to handle. Cleveland, it all depends on the quarterback. They've got everything else. And Cincy, I think they've got the easiest schedule of the 3. They got Philly and they got Vegas at home. It's their toughest non-conference games at home. They got to go to Kansas City, got to go to the Chargers, and got to go to Dallas. If Burrow stays healthy and all of them stay healthy, why couldn't they win it? I mean, I don't know. I have no idea who to pick.
The Ravens are sitting at 10.5 for a win total. The Bengals at 10.5 as well. So it kind of shows, I'm just going to go through and kind of shows you what Vegas thinks. The Browns are 8.5 and the Steelers are 8.5. So
the easiest bet for me on that is Cleveland over 8.5.
I don't know that I can.
Well, hell, they won 11 last year with Joe Flacco.
Yeah, but it's Cleveland. I
know, but they played well.
Oh, they did.
Pretty hard to beat.
I hate this. I'm going to take the Bengals. I
thought them is still at 11.
I don't believe in Baltimore.
I don't either. I've got them at 10.
I think Flacco could be better than Watson, so I don't believe in Cleveland. Honestly, Deshaun Watson what has he done in the last 5 years to make you go, he will lead Cleveland Browns to a Super Bowl?
I agree. I didn't say they were going to Super Bowl, though.
Well, we're saying this division's tough, and you're gonna saddle up with Deshaun Watson. That just doesn't
No,
add
I'm
up.
not saying they're going to win the division. No.
Yeah. Well, I know
think
that.
they're
I'm
decent.
not saying this against you. I'm saying we're
Yeah.
talking about this, and you're saying, okay, this is a tough division, and I agree.
Yeah.
What makes you think Deshaun Watson is the person you want to put your money on?
Well, I don't, and that's You've said it when they made the trade. What are they doing?
Yeah, exactly.
To give a guy like that kind of money.
Mm-hmm.
But as Rob says, their defense is elite.
It's good.
They have a great running back.
Yeah.
They've improved their receivers.
Yeah.
If he's any good,
mm-hmm.
which he does have talent, but they could do it. But you just don't know.
It's crazy to me. And look, we're Baker Mayfield people, right? But it's like, okay, if you're going to move on from Baker, that's whatever. I don't.
Yeah, whatever you want to do with that.
I couldn't sit here and argue with you one way or the other. But if you're going to move on, do something a little bit smarter.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? And
I don't know.
And I'm sorry, he's been a disaster. He wouldn't play. He wasn't.
No.
He was cleared to play and wouldn't play. I mean,
what did he play last year? 6 games, 7.
If that, yeah.
But
look, I think the Browns. I think the Browns are a good team, and I think they showed it last year. I think Stefanski's a really good coach. I want to say that too. I do. But can Cleveland get over the hump? If Baltimore or Cincinnati, if they're having a good year, I don't think Cleveland will. Well, I think what I'm trying to say, if Cleveland wins the division, it means Burrow got hurt again, which is very possible.
Yeah.
And Baltimore just kind of dicked off and do what they did a lot of years, what they do, and just not play up to their capabilities, basically.
I would like to see the Baker Mayfield before he got hurt in Cleveland with the talent they have now.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was really good until he hurt his shoulder.
Yeah.
People forget that horrible year he had. He was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't have played.
No, he screwed himself over by playing.
He did. He's come out of it in good shape, though. So
yeah. We'll talk about him in a minute. So, all right, are you taking the Ravens, I guess, to win the division?
No, I'm taking Cincy.
Okay, we're both taking Cincy.
Yeah.
I think if it's tough to really predict this division, because I really believe if Burrow stays healthy, Cincinnati's got just as good of players as Baltimore. But the whole part of it is, I mean, if Burrow can't stay healthy, well, this team's not going anywhere. So it is a little bit of a risk. But I'm with anybody that wants to take a shot against Baltimore. They're so inconsistent. Sure. And
you can do that every year, though.
All right, let's get to the AFC South now. That doesn't look to be quite as strong. The Jaguars, Titans, Texans, and Colts. We do have kind of some sleeper teams in here. If the Colts get their, rookie quarterback, who's now second-year quarterback, back. So he looked very good last year. The Texans, obviously, with C.J. Stroud. And then the Titans and Jags kind of the Titans for sure in a weird spot. The Jags, I don't know what to think of them.
I don't know what to think of them, no.
So let's start with the Texans, because they obviously are the team to beat according to the preseason. So what do you think of the Texans?
Well, they're everybody's darlings.
Yeah.
They were 11-8 last year, which, wow, no one predicted that, I don't think. Kevin thinks they're going to regress, and I kind of do too. Let's look at their non-conference schedule. They've got Chicago at home, but then they got 4 toughies: the Lions, the Ravens, the Bills, and the Dolphins all come to Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I believe all 4 of those teams were in the playoffs last year.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty tough.
Yep.
They're not going to win all those games. They go to New England, they go to Minnesota, but it ends there.
Yeah.
They go to Green Bay, they go to Kansas City, they go to Dallas, they go to the Jets. They better be damn good if they're going to win this division and win more than 9 games, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a big thing. When you win games in NFL, you win divisions, you make the playoff, you get that tougher schedule next year.
Tougher schedule. I got them at 9. I don't know if they win this division.
So you've got them at 9, which would be under, because they are at 9.5 right now. So if they don't win, who does win it?
Well, 9 might win it.
Are you buying the Colts? That's the next question.
Okay, let's look at them. I wasn't until I kind of studied this morning before we started. Here's their home non-conference games. They got the Bears. They got the Steelers. They got, and then it's tough. They got Miami. They got Detroit. They got Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
On the road, at Green Bay, at the Jets. And here's where the schedule again. These are 4 games you could win, especially if they were in Indiana or in Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
At Denver, at Minnesota, at New England, at New York, at the Giants. Wouldn't you like to have all those at home?
I mean, if you can't go 3-1 in that, even on the road, you're not good enough to win the division.
So I can't quite get there with them. What are they? 8.5?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody likes them.
Yeah.
Well, say they beat the Bears, say they beat the Steelers. There's 2. Say they upset Buffalo, Miami, or Detroit, which could happen. They win 1 there. Say they win a couple of those road games. Okay, say they win 3, which I don't know whether they can. That's 6. And they only have to win a couple. And they have to win 3 more. So it all comes down to how good do you think Jacksonville is? How good do you think Houston is? I can't get there. I got them at 8.
I think they'll split with Houston, and I think they'll split with Jacksonville.
Well, if they're going to do that, they may, and then sweep Tennessee, you might go 9.
I think they'll get over.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
They may win the division then.
I think it's the Texans or the Colts. Yeah. I don't believe in Jacksonville. We'll cover them now. They're at 8.5. I don't.
No, not
even when they made the playoffs that year. I don't think they were very good.
Mm-hmm. Well, they got their usual. They go to London twice,
mm-hmm.
which they won both times over there last year.
Yeah.
And they got New England and they got Chicago over there. Then they got Cleveland, Green Bay, the Jets, and Minnesota and Jacksonville. But they got to go to Miami. They got to go to Buffalo. They got to go to Detroit. They got to go to Philly. They got to go to Vegas. I don't know. So I'm with you. I got them at 8. I think the division winner might be 9 and 8. I think it's entirely possible.
Yeah, I do think it's possible because we'll talk about the Titans next, and that's a team that usually, they're pretty consistently good in this division. They don't look like they're going to be much. No. Here's the deal: they're over under 6.5, and I don't think they're winning this division. But I do think the schedule sets up decent for them to maybe go over that 6.5.
I just don't know what they got left. I mean,
it's not much.
I don't like that they fired their coach. I thought the guy was a good coach, and they fired him.
Yeah,
which means he gets blamed for having shitty players.
Right.
So management, what do? They don't take it upon themselves that they got him shitty players. They blame him and fire him. I don't like an organization that does that. He's been a damn good coach there.
Yeah.
And then you fire his ass after a bad season. No. So I think they're going to fade. I got them at 5 or 6.
Okay. All right. I don't know. I just think that schedule is fairly manageable. If they're any good at all, they could, but
I don't think they're any good though.
Yeah. But I guess the way why I kind of view them as they may have a shot.
Yeah, they got a shot.
I think they could be as good as Jacksonville. I really do. I guess maybe the quarterback might be the biggest difference, but I don't know. Is Lawrence any good, really? I mean, he's good, but is he like a difference maker? I'm not sure.
No, I'm not either.
So
it's a bad division.
So are you picking the Texans or the Colts?
I'm going to go the Texans, but I wouldn't bet any money on it.
I went the Texans too. And I think the difference for me is we know what CJ Stroud is, and even if he regresses a little bit, he's still decent. And I think Anthony Richardson is such a wild card. I was not high on him in college.
No.
I will say the limited time we saw him in the NFL, which is not much, he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
But
can he stay healthy?
Can he stay healthy, number one? And can he look that good over a long haul?
Aren't we seeing kind of a pattern here where these running quarterbacks are having a hard time staying healthy?
Yeah. So I don't I don't know. I don't fully believe in them yet, but I do think they're a decent team overall, and I would not be shocked, but I can't go with them. So,
Nope.
all right, AFC West should be pretty quick.
Yeah.
The Kansas City Chiefs, I would think, would be your pick to win the division, correct?
Well, yeah.
As
In the
far as
Super Bowl.
betting them on an over/under win total, I would not do it. I would just bet them in the Super Bowl's futures and win the AFC futures, win this division futures. We saw it now 2 years in a row. They are not a great regular season team. They're getting that reputation.
Yeah, they are. They screw around and lose some games. Generally, they get off to kind of a slow start. For a first place schedule, it's not terribly difficult.
When it comes to them, though, I don't care about the schedule.
No, because they're going to slip up somewhere you don't think they're going to. You know, you look at their schedule. You know, they got Baltimore and Cincinnati right out of the gate. But guess what? They're both in Arrowhead.
It doesn't. Again, I don't care. Their schedule is meaningless. I mean, they can go anywhere and win if they're ready to play.
Oh, they will. So they
can also lose to the Raiders at home because that's just what they've done.
That's what they do, and they could win these first two and then go down to Atlanta and get beat.
Exactly
in the third game.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you think, wow, they're not very good. And then then their next game's in LA against the Chargers, and they got this kill them.
Yeah.
And then they come home and play New Orleans, and they could be flat. So it's on a Monday night, so they probably wouldn't be. But you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
They do have to go to San Francisco, and they got to go to Buffalo, and they got to go to Cleveland. So, you know, those are tough games. I agree with you. The over under things, 11.5. I don't see any way they can't win 12, but we've seen it before. I remember the first year we did this, I think we thought they were going to win 14, and they ended up winning 11 or 12.
Yeah.
So, but who's going to beat them in the AFC? I don't know who for the championship. I don't see anybody.
That's why I would just stay away from them, because the problem is somebody will beat them. A couple teams, maybe 3 teams will beat them, where it's like you never could have predicted that, you know? No. So, I think it's
and it doesn't matter whether they have to go on the road to win, or it doesn't matter.
No, that's just when the chips are down, they'll win the game.
When it gets to the playoffs, it doesn't matter.
And I think that now that they went on the road and they won all those games last year, it just kind of breeds to the, we'll just kind of whatever. The regular season is what it is type of thing. Yeah.
Just make the playoffs and get a 2 seed or 3 is good enough. Just they're you can't bet against them. If anything, they're better this year than they were last year.
The other thing they've got going for them, they don't have much competition, at least on paper right now, with the Chargers sitting at 8.5, the Raiders at 6.5, and then the Patriots the Broncos at 5.5. So Vegas not high on any of these teams.
I think the most interesting team's the Chargers.
Okay, so the Chargers are at 8.5. Of course, Jim Harbaugh, the new coach there. We've been waiting for a real coach. They've got it, but the roster isn't what it used to be under Staley.
No, they lost some guys.
They don't look near as potent, but will the coaching change
That's
make up?
The key. I don't know. Or it's going to take a year. It could take a year sometimes. You just don't come in there and be dynamite the first year. Non-conference games at home: New Orleans, Tennessee, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Tampa Bay. Well, you should beat New Orleans. You should beat Tennessee. And you should beat Tampa, in my opinion. There's 3. I don't know why you can't win one of the others. On the road, they go to Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Atlanta, New England, Carolina, Arizona. If they're any good, and if he does make a difference, that coaching staff makes a difference, they still got a damn good quarterback if they can get him going again.
Yeah.
That's an easy schedule.
Well, it's a schedule that you get when you consistently underachieve. And that's why every year when we sit here and we look at them and go, well, they have a lot of talent.
They do.
And the schedule works out because they're never good enough to get a bad schedule.
I still think they have more talent than Denver.
Yeah.
and probably more than Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Say they go 3-1 against them. You never know. They've went into Kansas City and beat the Chiefs before.
Mm-hmm.
They probably won't. But say they beat Atlanta, Carolina, they beat New England, they beat Arizona, they beat Pittsburgh.
Well,
Why can't they win 10?
Well, and the problem in the past has been they never win those games.
No, but they've got a coach now.
Right.
We
So
think.
can it flip for them? And can it flip
to me,
this quickly?
I'm going over.
Okay.
Because I know they're good.
Yeah.
And the other thing that hurts the Chargers, they don't have a home field.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a home field advantage.
Nope, they don't.
So basically, the only advantage they get at playing at home is they don't travel. They don't have to travel.
Yep.
But whoever comes in there has got more fans than they do.
Every time. Yep.
And I'm telling you, that makes a huge difference.
It does.
When they play the Chiefs, there'll be 3 times more Chiefs fans than there are Chargers fans.
Yep.
And it kills them. It hurts them. And I think that's an overlooked thing about the Chargers.
Yep.
So I always overpick them, but I'm doing it with more confidence this year. I think this is a decent team.
It should be decent. I agree. And like I said, it does help that the next team we'll talk about, the Raiders, they look like a mess right now.
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew is going to start for the Raiders.
That doesn't create a lot of excitement.
No, they've been horrible.
They made a coaching change, and they played better after they made that change.
Yeah. Yeah.
They did. They won a couple of games, and they actually beat the Chiefs during that time. But, come on. I don't know. They did win 8 games last year.
Yep.
I just don't see it. I got them at like 7.
I don't see it either. Okay. Now I'm going to, you're high on the Chargers. Here's my stupid comment of the show.
You only got to beat what, 5.5?
I really like Denver this year. Like I am definitely playing them over. I've played them over 5.5. I think they might get to 9.
Well, okay, it's all going to depend. Can they beat Pittsburgh and Denver? Can they beat Vegas and Denver? That's 2. Can they beat Atlanta? That's 3. Indy's 4. Carolina's 5. Then they got Cleveland. Let's say they don't win that one. But they could.
Mm-hmm.
They got to go to Seattle. Can they beat them? If they're any good, they could.
Mm-hmm.
At the Jets, at Baltimore, at Cincy, at New Orleans. They could win that.
I mean, you haven't listed a game that I think is impossible.
Well, I don't know if they can go to Cincinnati and Baltimore, but they could.
But here's the deal.
the
what
Chiefs.
you are talking about on August 22nd will look completely different possibly.
That's true.
In that game. What if Joe Burrow's hurt? Then
That's right. Well, I'm going over for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can get to 8 or 9 yet. But let's say Bo Nix is the real deal and he shows potential and plays well, and then they start building around him. We could, let's face it, the Broncos haven't had a quarterback since Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning was over the hill then.
So, look, the Broncos went 8-9 last year with the worst quarter. I'll just go ahead and say, I think Russell Wilson's the worst quarterback in the NFL. I truly, truly believe that. And when you watch their games,
they won 8 games. They won 8 last year?
Yes, and he was truly pathetic in almost every game I watched. They went 8-9, and they lost home games to the Raiders and to the Commanders. And they were games they were way ahead, and they blew them.
Yeah. They lost to New England at home.
Yes. They lost games that there's no way. And when you watch those games, you say to yourself, if they had just an adequate quarterback, they would win this game, but he could not. The day they played the Chiefs, Russell Wilson begged the Chiefs to beat them, and the Chiefs looked like they didn't even want to step on the field, let alone play. The Chiefs, it was the worst game I've ever seen the Chiefs play.
No, they were awful.
Russell Wilson tried to handle the game to them. Every game I watch, it was like this. I'm telling you right now, if Bo Nix is adequate, the Broncos are definitely going over 5.5. I think
I didn't realize they won 8. I thought they won like 6.
Like, if you think they can win, can they win the division? No.
Well, they're not going to beat Kansas City. No.
Is it realistic that they make the playoffs? It's debatable. I mean, if 9 and 8 can get you in, maybe they're going to make it. But should they make it? Probably not. But they're going to be way better than 5.5. I really truly believe they're going to be. They're going to be decent. And look, I think they're better than the Raiders, and they lost twice to them last year. So if you can just beat the Raiders, split with the Raiders, split with the Chargers, win some of those winnable games, they're going over 5.5.
Yeah, I remember when the season started last year, we said, well, they got a shot to start off 4-1.
Yeah.
They lost. They blew the game with Vegas. They lost 17-16. Then Washington, come on.
Yeah.
They've had them in Denver, lost 35-33. Then they went to Miami and lost 70-20.
So when they lost that game, I said, okay, this is going to be an epic disaster.
Yeah.
And
came back the next week and beat the Bears.
They played really well until the last couple of games where it was a disaster again.
Well, yeah. Well, they started off 1-5.
Yeah.
And then they beat Green Bay and Kansas City back-to-back in Denver.
Yep. Yeah. They had a shot.
They beat Buffalo.
They were 7-7, and they had New England at home, the Chargers at home, and on the road against the Raiders. And I thought they're going to make the freaking playoffs, and then they lose to New England.
They lost to New England, and then they beat the Chargers the next week.
Like literally, the high school team could have beat the Chargers by the end of that season. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying. I think they're going to be better than people think.
I think they're better than 5.5. That's for sure.
Yeah. So
I hope so.
That's just my thought.
Better when the Broncos are good.
All right, so the Chiefs, obviously, both for us here on who we think's going to win.
Yeah, get nuts if you don't pick them.
Okay, let's keep going. Let's go to the NFC now and kind of break this down. The NFC East is where we'll start. It's always one of the more fun ones to talk about. You got the hot button teams here.
Dallas is in it.
Yes, Eagles, Giants, Dallas, and Washington. We'll start with Dallas because that's who everybody likes to talk about. They're at 9.5 here. What dramatic thing will happen this year to the Cowboys?
I think they're either going to be right where they usually are, or they're going to be a disaster. I
lean disaster. Yeah. I lean disaster.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it.
I think this is going to drop
a little.
Yeah.
And it all depends to me on Zach or Dak. I mean, it all depends on Dak Prescott to me. And I don't like him. And so, I mean, I think he
sucks.
Maybe past his prime, maybe.
And every time I say that, prime. Where was the prime?
Well, he's been decent. He just can't. He's like, let's compare him to Romo. Aren't they both kind of the same? They're good, but they couldn't get him over the hump, or stuff would go wrong.
Romo over Dak.
I would too, in a heartbeat. Yeah, I think Romo got a lot of blame some years.
Yeah.
And
the Cowboys have had very good players around Dak.
They have. Their receiving core at times has been unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Did they ever sign CD?
No, unless they did this morning. No.
What are they doing?
I mean,
somebody's going to sign him. I mean, somebody will snatch it. What are they doing?
It's not going to happen. He doesn't want to do training camp in the preseason. That's all that amounts to.
Well,
he'll play.
But isn't that a distraction that's not needed?
I don't really think it matters.
Okay. Well, they're an enigma. They are. Their schedule's pretty tough. They play Baltimore, they play Detroit, they play Philly, they play Houston, they play Cincinnati, and they play Tampa, all at home. They got to go to Cleveland. They got to go to San Francisco. They got to go to Philadelphia. Of course, that's in their conference. That's a tough schedule.
Yep.
For a team that could be in turmoil. What are they, 9?
I think they're
9.5.
Yep.
Can they piece together 10?
I don't think so.
Well, if it's a disaster, they don't.
I think it's a disaster. I think they have a losing season.
You do?
Yep.
Oh, God, if that ain't going to be it. I can't go there yet. I'm going to go 10.
Tell me why they should have any optimistic expectations over like 10 wins. Like if they get to 10, I'm not going to sit here and be shocked about it, but it's like this is the same team as last year. They weren't that good last year.
No.
I don't see it.
Let's see their best win last year, arguably. They beat the Rams 43-20. That was at home.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Philly at home 33-13. And they beat the Lions 20-19 at home.
It was good.
But you look at some of these losses, 31-10 to Buffalo, at Buffalo. The Niners beat them 42-10. So if you bet under, you're not stupid. That's for sure.
Philadelphia, they're at 10.5 sitting here. I think they are the team to beat in the division, obviously. But they were a total disaster to end the season last year. They acted like they didn't even want to really be out there.
Nope.
Surely they're going to turn this around, because if they don't, they're not going to win a game, or they're going to win like 2 or 3. But that's not going to happen.
There's big question marks there. Hurts wasn't happy.
Yep.
I don't know what was going on there.
He's a prick. That's what's wrong. I bet. Everybody knows it but you. So
they changed coordinators.
Yeah.
They still have talent, but it's their defense. They've got to improve.
Oh, it was bad.
They were awful.
Yeah.
So if they've made some changes to the defense, which they have, and it's a little bit better, then they should win the division. They got, they opened the season. This is odd. They opened the season in Brazil.
Yeah.
It's Green Bay.
Yeah.
Why would you put Philly and Green Bay in Brazil?
Yeah, I'm sure those two fan bases who love their teams are thrilled for that.
Well, what's the NFL doing? Send Carolina and somebody down there.
Right, yeah.
They don't care in Brazil who comes down there. They care less.
No.
Why would you do a marquee game in Brazil?
I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
I know they're trying to grow the brand all over the world, but anyway. Cleveland and Dallas are at home. They got to go to Tampa, got to go to Cincinnati, got to go, of course, to Dallas. You got to go to the Rams, got to go to Baltimore. That schedule's doable. It's doable. If they can get things straightened out, why can't they go over that? So I got them over.
Yeah, and then you've got the Giants and the Commanders. I have no hope for the Giants.
No. I got them at 6, maybe.
So the Giants, where are they? They are, how far down do I have to go? They're at 6.5. I take it or leave it. I don't know. Yeah. There'll be around that.
I think the Commanders are interesting because of the new quarterback. Can he, get things going? Maybe he'll improve them. I think it's going to take a year, though. I don't think he's got enough around him. So,
nope.
I've got him at 6 or 7. So, of course, Vegas has got him right where I do. It's always the same. So,
yep. I would say I would go under on the Giants and under on the Commanders. But,
well, if you do, then that means Dallas and Philly are probably going to sweep both of them.
I think Philly should, but, it's one of those situations. You get in the division, you could lose a game you shouldn't anywhere. So, I think it's Phillies all the way. I think they
it's
win
theirs to win or lose. Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's keep going to the NFC North. The Bears, the Vikings, the Packers, and the Lions.
Yep.
And it's the Lions who are going to be the favorites to win this thing, which is odd to say, but we've kind of seen them grow up before our eyes on the show.
Yes.
I remember 2 years ago, we were saying this team is pretty good.
Yeah.
They're at 10.5.
They were.
Yeah, they are at 10.5. And they're obviously, like I said, the team that is favored. The Packers, unfortunately for Lions fans, the Packers got a lot better the last few games of the season.
Yeah.
They're sitting there at 9.5. Jordan Love finally looked like a decent quarterback.
He did.
You got the wild card of the Bears. What will they be with Caleb Williams? I think that makes this division fun. And then you got the Vikings, who look like they're getting ready to take
I think
kind of a step back. So we'll start with the Lions. Can they win this division? That's the big question.
They won 14 games last year.
And I should say, can they win it again? Which is it's hard for me to say because it's like, really, that they're going to try to win it again, but that's where we're at. Can they do it again?
They had the 49ers beat.
Look, you hate to criticize the coach that got the Lions to 14 wins, but I mean, if he's a little bit not out of his mind, they probably would have beat the 49ers.
Yeah. If he realized he's not coaching a bad team anymore, he's coaching a good one.
And honestly, I think that's a big deal. And I think if he can adjust.
Yes, we're going to give him a pass.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
That's the way they'd played all year. So
Yep.
You just can't get away with it once you get good and you're playing really good teams. So maybe he's learned. Obviously, he's done a hell of a job.
Yes.
Goff doesn't get the credit he deserves. They got great players all over the field. Hutchinson's unbelievable. They're going to win the division.
I agree.
And it's 10.5. I got them at least 11. Now, their schedule's pretty tough. They got the Rams, Buffalo, and Green Bay, of course, at home. They go to Dallas. They go to Houston. They go to San Francisco and return to Green Bay. So their schedule's formidable because they got the first place schedule. But so are they. Give me the Lions. I like them.
I think the Lions are going to do it, but I do think the Packers are going to challenge. They are another team that had San Francisco beat last year. I think this is a really tough division. I think those two teams are gonna be battling. I think it's gonna be close. I worry about the Lions. It's like if they get down to it's close at the end of the season, will the uniform, meaning the Packers, overtake them? Because that's just what's happened so many times.
I'm not. Let me look at how these two teams did against each other last year, because sometimes that means a little bit. Okay, Green Bay beat the Lions in Detroit. I think that was on Thanksgiving. It was.
Yep.
And then the Lions kicked them in Green Bay, and that's before Green Bay got going.
Yep. And that's that last comment's the thing. Green Bay first half of the season versus second half of the season was totally different.
Yeah, they got on a roll. Let's see. I guess I'm not as high on Green Bay as most people are. I mean, I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be a playoff team. Not quite there yet on the quarterback. I mean, I do like him. I got him at 10.
I think that's right. I have the Lions and the Packers going over, and I have the Lions winning the division. Now, the big question, Caleb Williams.
Packers at 8.5?
What's that?
Packers is that 8.5 or
9.5?
Okay, can't read that.
The Bears are at 8.5, and that's Caleb Williams has looked good in the preseason. We know his talent level.
Mm-hmm.
How will it translate to the NFL mentally? I think is the thing we're a little bit worried about. But they've looked good. They're at 8.5. I think that's too many. I don't think they're going to go over that. But overall, what do you think of the Bears and Caleb?
If they're going to go over that, they're going to have to beat Detroit and Green Bay, probably in Chicago.
Yeah, correct.
And I don't remember the last time they've consistently done that. Yeah, I agree. I'm not ready to go over. I would think if they got to 8 and 9, that'd be a hell of a year.
Mm-hmm.
It'd show some improvement. It's going to be interesting to see how he does. He is a good, talented player. I don't put anything in the preseason really, unless you just suck.
Yep. Then
you do, but you're not playing first teamers. I mean, he's a first teamer playing against backups. So, the only thing I look at in the preseason, if he's playing just god awful, then that means something. But if he's playing good, he's not going up again. And No one gives a shit in the preseason. No one cares.
There couldn't be anything more meaningless than the preseason.
No.
Yeah.
I get these people. I know people go, God, did you watch the? I had to go watch the. I went to a bar last night to watch the Packers or the Chiefs. And why?
Yeah.
You must have just wanted to go drink because the game
Right.
means absolutely. Why are you going to go watch the Chiefs and Mahomes doesn't play? I mean, I just don't get into it at all. But
no,
it's like exhibition baseball. It's
yeah,
crazy.
I haven't watched 1 second of the preseason, and I don't care what any of them have done.
No, I think
Not-
the Chiefs
not
lost
even
the
a
other
little.
night. So what?
I remember, I can't remember. I don't know, but it was somebody I was talking to. He said, "Oh, so and so fumbled. That's bad." I was like, "What?
Yeah,
He's gonna have fumble problems?" Like, what? What are you
doesn't matter.
talking about? Like, come on, like, it doesn't. This doesn't matter. So, but look, I mean, I do think the talent's there. I will be very interested to see what happens. Because
with him,
yeah,
with Caleb.
him,
Oh, I do too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I see where you're coming from, Rob, and I understand it, and Dennis. I understand it, but I don't think you were worried about his mental game until last year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And yes, it was odd.
Yeah.
I'll have to say that.
Yeah.
And I would think that was weird as well, and I did when I saw it.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether that has anything to do with his mental game. I don't know.
Well, that's just
Exactly
it. I don't think
what that means.
I don't think we've ever seen a guy quite like him be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
No, he's different.
He is an odd guy. And I don't really believe I think people see that and say he's not tough. And I don't think that's it. I think
he's tough. You can't play quarterback if you're not.
I think he's tough. I just think he's odd.
He is. And how will that translate to pro players?
I'll never forget this. When the very first game before he even played at Oklahoma, the way he carried himself was different than anybody I've ever watched.
Freshman, true freshman, came out there like I'm a superstar.
Well,
he just did.
He did for sure. And I can't describe it. It was just, I've seen true freshmen come out and act like they're stars before.
Yeah. Not like this guy.
The presence that he had was just bizarre.
Yeah, it was like, I'm better than this guy that's ahead of me.
Well, and I think he knew that. Everybody on the team knew that. But and like when he plays that incredible game and they come back and they beat Texas, and then you watch him after the game, it's like, what a weird guy this is. Like, he just went out off by himself and laid down on the field.
Yeah, he's strange.
He's weird. But look, he's the best player I've ever watched in person as far as some of the ability that he has. Like, he made some throws that year that he was at Oklahoma. We're like, yeah, we've seen a lot of good quarterbacks, and they can't make that throw he just made.
No.
But the flip side of it is we saw him at times just look bad, but he was a true freshman. And look, I mean, he really hasn't had a coach yet, so that's going to be interesting to see what somebody can do with him. But
can you say that?
I mean,
he's a great offensive coach.
All those quarterbacks he have had a hard time adjusting to the NFL. Show me one that hasn't.
That's true.
You know, I mean, I don't really think his offense really leads to NFL ready quarterback.
Well, they may not.
But at the end of the day, the guy's super talented, and maybe he's weird, but that's okay. You know, so we were talking about it. Stillman and I and Jared were talking about it, and they kept kind of pressing me. I was like, I truly don't know, because I've never seen a guy quite like him.
Well, what happens to him too if they get off to a horrible start?
I don't know. I've
Does he
never
just
looked
shut it down like he did at USC last year. He kind of shut it down his last game.
I don't want to make too much of it, because it is what it is, and it's over. And he was young. He's in college. I've never at any level past, let's say, Mighty Might football, seen a player do what he did after that loss. I can't remember who they played when they lost, and he went up and laid in his mom's arms and cried. I'm serious. Like, in that, again, I think people look at it and go, what a soft guy. I just think that is weird.
It's weird. It's not soft. It's weird.
It's just weird. And I'm telling you, people probably haven't followed him like day by day. like we have, and USC fans can probably chime in on this as well. It's like there are times you watch him, it's like this might be the best player I've ever watched, and then there are times it's like, man, this is one weird guy. So I don't really know what's going to happen with him.
I don't know how anybody can't say that was weird.
That was by far the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, but he's done a lot of bizarre things that I've never seen. So,
Yeah.
but again, we'll see. It might translate. It might not. We don't have anything to go off. This is a different cat.
Just have to wait.
Yeah. All right. We got to get going. NFC South is next. The Saints, the Bucks, the Falcons, the Panthers. This is gross.
It is.
People, I don't start. Who do you want to start with?
Well, of course, I'm rooting my ass off for Tampa, but I look at their schedule. I don't know. They can do it.
We know that they're not very good. Like
they've got some talented players. You know, they still got a couple of good receivers. Yeah. Their defense is pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
Baker's a great leader.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's a fantastic talent by any stretch. Can they go to Detroit, Kansas City, the Chargers, Dallas? They got Philly coming in there. They got the 49ers. They got Baltimore.
Yeah.
You talk about a division winner getting a schedule that's going to kill you when you weren't any good anyway.
Well, that was the thing. They took advantage of the weaker schedule and got lucky kind of.
Yes.
And won it. And now.
Yeah. And now they're facing.
Yeah.
Well, you got Kansas City and San Francisco, the two teams in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You got a Philly team that underachieved. You got Baltimore, which was close to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit, close to the Super Bowl. None of them have really regressed any.
No, I mean they're not winning.
And you only won 9 last year, 10, I think.
Yeah, they're not winning those games. No.
Yeah,
they're not going to win those games.
No, unless. You know, again, we're looking at this now. Somebody could get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got him at 8.
Yeah.
And that's generous.
Yeah.
And 8 could win the division.
It could because, as we go on, I'm with you too. I think that the Bucks are at 7 or 8. And could 8 win it? I mean, I don't think the Panthers are going to be any better.
No.
Well, let me back up. They might be marginally better, but they're not.
Well, they got to win 3 to be better, don't they?
Right. So they're okay. They're going to be a little bit better, but I still don't think they're a contender.
No. Oh God, no.
The Saints.
Well, they're the team I can't get right, so I don't even analyze them.
Dude, I don't think I've picked a Saints game right against the spread in 3 years.
No, I can't pick them. So
no,
I don't know. I've got him 6, 7, or 8.
Yeah.
The team that I think could win it.
Well.
Is Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I think Cousins, if he's healthy, they're not bad.
And their schedule's not that tough.
Their schedule? No.
Not
tough at all.
If he just plays like himself.
I think they win the division. I do.
Shouldn't they win it fairly easy?
Well,
like if we think Tampa's going to win 8 or even 9, shouldn't Atlanta win 10 or 11?
Well, they start off at Pittsburgh. They got to win that game. It's at home.
Yeah.
They go to Philly. Okay, say they lose. The Chiefs come in there, say the Chiefs are ready. They beat them. Then they got New Orleans at home and Tampa at home. They got to win those 2.
Yeah.
They're 3-2. They go to Carolina. That's 4. Then here comes Seattle. There's 5.
That's what I'm saying. They've got a good situation.
They win 5 of the 7. Say they go to Tampa and they lose. Here come the Cowboys. Okay, if the Cowboys aren't playing very good, they could beat them.
Mm-hmm.
They go to New Orleans. They go to Denver. They can win one of those. The Chargers are there. They're at Minnesota. They're at Vegas. They got the Giants at home. Look at who they finish up with. Giants at home, at Washington, Carolina at home.
Yeah.
I've got them at 9, possibly 10. So
yeah.
What are they at? 8? What are they? 8.5?
9.5.
9.5. So Vegas likes them too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can go over that, but 9 wins the division, I think.
I think they easily win the division.
I think they do. I think they're going to win it. I don't know if it's easy, but I think they're going to win it. Baker will have Tampa hanging tough. They'll be tough.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can win it. I'm not saying that, but they're going to be a hard out.
Yeah. I would agree. They'll be a tough team to beat. They're not going to lay down, but
No.
yeah. All right. Both on Atlanta. NFC
Yeah.
West to round it out.
I
Rams,
know you love the
49ers.
Rams. I know
What's
you
that?
love the Rams. And I
Rams,
see why.
49ers, Seahawks, and Cardinals. I love the Rams, yes.
I know you do, and their schedule sets up for them. Cooper Kupp's got to come back and play like Cooper Kupp.
Mm-hmm.
Stafford's got to stay healthy. Where are they at? What do they got?
They're at 8.5, which is
oh
nuts.
my God, that's the easiest bet on the board.
Yes, I took them over 8.5. I took them to win the division, and I took them to win the Super Bowl. I've got 3 bets on them there. Super Bowl, the smallest of the 3, because I do think Kansas City is the actual winner. I love this team. I love the Rams this year. I am a big proponent of like 49ers. You can't just every year win. I think they will kind of take a step back, and I think the Rams are there to pick up the pieces. So,
well, the Niners have way harder schedule.
Yes. So I'm all over the Rams. I think they're going to be really good.
Look at the Rams' toughest non-conference games are all at home.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay, Miami, Philly, Buffalo, all at home. You got to go to Detroit. It's their hardest non-conference game. But then contrast that with San Francisco, Kansas City, Dallas, Detroit at home, at Green Bay, at Buffalo, at Tampa, at Miami. Logic says the Rams will win the division. I think the Niners are going to be very, very good again. So I'm with you. Good. I bet that over all day long.
Yeah.
8.5. I'm not believing that one. Now, injuries come about that could change a lot of stuff. So that's something to look at, but you have to look at, you can't, when you're betting in the preseason, you don't worry about that. So
injuries could happen anytime. Exactly.
Absolutely. So you can't worry about it. I got them to win the division too because of the schedule. I think the Niners are going to be nipping at their tails though, because they are the Niners.
Yeah.
They're well coached and they know how to win. So these are 2 playoff teams for sure. I think Arizona's got a chance to be a little better. What are they? 7.5. I don't know if I'm willing to go there. I think Seattle could drop. I would bet under on Seattle. And I probably won't bet under on Arizona, but Arizona's right in that ballpark.
I think Arizona's the sleeper.
I don't know.
You want my theory on it?
What?
Okay, they've had the worst coach to ever coach NFL football as a head coach, right?
Well, it's a toss-up.
He's one of the worst. They finally get a head coach last year. Murray doesn't play for a lot of the season. They had one of the worst rosters I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And they were competitive. And then they got Kyler back. They were decent. They were a tough team to beat. Now you've got Kyler. You've got a full year under with the new coach. I think they're going to be decent. I'm not saying they're going to win the division, but I think they can. They were at 6.5. I put them over 6.5. 7.5, I would take them over as well. I really believe that, they got a great draft. I think this is going to be a tough team to beat this year.
Did they get Harrison? They did, didn't they?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, they're we'll see. They're another team that when teams come to play them, there's more fans in the stands than what they got.
Well, I know. I'm not saying they're going to be great. They're going to turn around the franchise. I'm saying the pieces are there, and we're going to find out on Kyler Murray this year, because if he pulls the same shit, it's like, he's just not the guy.
Done.
Yeah.
He's going to have to play.
Yep.
And so he's the key. And if they're going to win 8, they're going to have to beat Seattle twice, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know if they can beat the Rams or the Niners. They might. They usually play them pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got to go beat these teams they need to beat. So
which they haven't been able to do.
No. So we'll see. I do think Seattle's going to drop.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think Arizona will kind of be the new Seattle. I
Yep.
think end of the year, you're going to be thinking, man, if they can just win these last couple, they might get in,
Yeah.
I think that's the type of team they are. I don't think they're a shoe in for the playoff or anything like that. I just think they're there. I think they're going to be decent. I really do. And
They
look,
got a
again, a
shot.
lot of it was I expected them to be a total disaster, and they weren't last year. And again, when they got Kyler back, I'm not saying they were like a great team, but they were tough out. So I could see him being decent.
Yep.
All right. Any final thoughts on NFL before we move on?
No, I think it's the Chiefs and either the Rams or the Niners.
Okay.
Kind of boring, but that's what I think.
All right, let's go. Yeah, I Chiefs Rams for me. That's my preseason prediction. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go to college football. What do you say? Because
all right.
Okay.
Only two games, really.
On Saturday, we do have 4 games, but one of them is Montana State, New Mexico. We're not going to talk about it.
No.
One of them is Delaware State, Hawaii. We're not going to talk about it.
No.
The kickoff in Dublin at 11 a.m., Florida State and Georgia Tech. That'll kick off the season. Florida State a 10.5-point favorite. Total sets at 55.5. Any thoughts on the opening game of the season?
Isn't the point in 10.5, right?
Yes.
How in the hell can Florida State just be 10.5-point favorite? I mean, shouldn't they be more favored than that if they're a top 10 team?
If they truly are a top 10 team, they should be. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got to figure what's the Dublin thing going to do? Is that going to make any difference?
That's part of it for sure.
Georgia Tech got better last year, but it is the opening game. That's the only thing. If I was going to bet it, I'd pick Florida State minus 10.5.
I would think if they're any good at all, they should cover. So I'll take Georgia Tech plus 10.5. I really don't think Florida State's any good. I seriously, I don't think they're very good.
Well, if they're not, and they can't beat them any more than that, they're might be in for a long season.
I could see this game being close.
It could, because it's the first game of the year, and it's over there.
Yeah.
If it was over here, I don't think you'd be saying that quite as much.
If they were at home, like if it was in Florida, Tallahassee, I would think, but it's in Dublin. It's weird. Georgia Tech got better. I think Georgia Tech's coached decently well.
They are.
I think they can hang with them. That's
we'll
where
see,
I'm at.
Florida State's not very good if they hang with them.
You're not.
I think they can hang with them for a while, but I think they pull away and down the end. We'll see.
That could happen. All right. Yep. SMU and Nevada. This game will be in Reno, Nevada. 25-point favor for SMU. Total at 56.5. So what do you like here?
Well, you're all over SMU. You think they're going to win the ACC, so they should cover that.
Yes, I have
plus 24.5.
Yeah, I have SMU.
They're going to go out and win by 25.
I think so. Yep.
Okay.
Nevada was a horrible team last year.
They were.
I mean, they were bad. It's just in comparison. Nevada last year, they lost to Idaho 33-6. Like they were a bad team. So
they've made some interesting additions in the post.
Well, I mean, they hopefully.
I haven't studied it at all, so
no. To me, they don't look like they're going to be much.
I
better.
will look at that tomorrow.
Yeah,
and see if I want to bet some college football on my best bets page.
So those are the two that there was 4 games. Like I said, those are the two that I don't know that you really want to bet those other two. So,
no,
yeah, but that's it. Next week we'll actually get to talk about games. Like
a
lot of them.
There are some good ones next week.
Yes. So that's what to look forward to this week, though. We'll see as week 0 opens up. Going to be crazy to watch that. All right. Baseball, we'll do it just real quickly.
Okay.
You know what? Let me pull up the standings as we do this. But it's getting tight in baseball right now. There's a lot of divisions that are kind of up for grabs.
3 of them for sure.
Yeah. So
I think switches every day.
I think the most interesting one right now This Dodgers situation is interesting. Now they're back up by 4, but it got down to 2, and it's twofold. The Dodgers got a lot of injuries; they're not playing all that well. But Arizona and San Diego got hot, and
They did.
things close. Do the Dodgers hold on? I think the Dodgers hold on, but how close is this going to get?
I think the Dodgers are going to hold on. You know what? They fought them off.
Yeah,
They started winning again, and they kind of faded there a little bit. They had some injuries too, or like you said, they had injuries.
yeah.
I like San Diego a lot, and Arizona too. I mean,
I like Arizona a lot.
all 3 of them are going to make the playoffs, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Dodgers hold them off because I think they're just a little bit better, and I don't think Arizona or San Diego think they can beat them head to head.
Well,
So,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
When the chips are down, I don't think so. So, the Dodgers have really impressed me the last week or two because they got that gauntlet got the hammer thrown at them, and they responded. I think they went in St. Louis and won 3 out of 4, 2 out of 3, something like that. Traditionally, they don't play very well there, and then they've come back home and killed Seattle. And so, I think they're going to hold them off. It's going to be a real battle between San Diego and Arizona to see who gets that final, or gets the number 1 wild card.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. Of course, Milwaukee's got this thing wrapped up. Philly's pretty much got it wrapped up.
Yeah.
Houston, who started the year awful, is now 5 games ahead because Seattle can't win a game right now.
No, God, they did this last year. They just tank it. They just,
Yep.
Yeah,
So
Houston, pretty good.
I think that's done. I think Houston's going to win it.
I don't see how Seattle can make up 5 games.
These are the biggies. Let's go to the Central first. Cleveland, 2.5 now, only 2.5 ahead of Minnesota and Kansas City. Kansas City, that's a team we thought, well, they might fade a little bit. They're coming on again.
They are. They're playing well. Twins are the Twins.
I'm not so sure. Cleveland may lose this division still.
They might. They're not playing well at all.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thought they were overachieving anyway, and now they really are struggling. The Twins, the Twins just beat the teams they're supposed to, and they hang in there against the others.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really impressed with the Royals. I really am. I thought they were going to fade. And the other team in that division, they're not going to make the playoffs. But, man, I don't want to play Detroit.
They're tough. They're tough to beat.
Pretty hard to beat, and they're going to mix. They're going to screw some people up in that division, maybe because there'll be some head-to-heads. I'm sure their pitching staff's pretty good, and they've had a good year, 62 and 65. That's pretty good for the Tigers.
They've made progress. Yeah,
they have.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be an interesting one to watch.
I think Minnesota's going to win that division. I just do. But
they're pretty consistent.
Yeah, and that's just it. I just trust them the most. But Cleveland's still 2.5 ahead, and there's only about 5-6 weeks left. So, and then finally the Yankees and the Orioles. This is going to come down to the last game of the season, I think.
Probably.
These 2 teams are very, very good. I still believe in Baltimore. I think they're going to win it, but I wouldn't be shocked either way.
Well, Baltimore's just littered with injuries to their pitching staff. It's screwed up. And that's allowed the Yankees to get back up there because Baltimore was rolling there for a while, and now they're struggling. But just when you give up on them, they win a couple of games to get going again. And the Yankees are good. They are. So this is really fascinating because it flip-flops every day.
Yep.
One of them's in first and it's done. Man, it just means so much to win that division.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a good team that's going to be in the wild card.
Yep.
So anyway,
finally, we'll go to the wild card here, and it's getting interesting for these last spots. I think whether that's Baltimore or New York, I think you're safe. One of those teams will get in and probably be that top seed. But Minnesota and Kansas City now have opened up a 3.5 game lead over Boston because Boston kind of got a little, they've cooled off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think this is the 3 teams you're going to see. You might swap out Cleveland for Kansas City or Minnesota, but I think Tampa, Seattle, Detroit that you mentioned, they're playing better, but I think they're too far gone. And
they're too far.
I don't think Boston's good enough to make up the ground. I think that's what you're going to see in the American League.
I don't think the Red Sox have enough pitching to go on a
I don't
win
either.
streak.
Yeah. And then the National League, you mentioned it again, Arizona and San Diego, they seem pretty safe. They're 4 games up on the next team.
Yeah.
And it's a situation where I don't think they're going to drop off enough to get caught. The Braves now sit a game and a half ahead of the Mets, 3.5 ahead of San Francisco, 5 ahead of St. Louis, 5.5 ahead of Cincinnati and Chicago. I think this spot is very much up for grabs. And Rob mentioned it. He says Braves are cursed with injuries. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. The injuries they've had to go through. They're still hanging tough.
Yeah.
I'd still bet them to get this 3rd spot.
The Braves.
Yep.
Yeah, because I don't think these other teams are good enough to catch them.
I don't think the Mets are out of it. I think they've got a shot.
No, they're not, because I'm sure they'll have some head-to-heads with them.
San Francisco just cannot hit good enough, I don't think, to catch them.
And it's like last night. You got to beat the White Sox.
Yeah.
You just have to.
Yeah. St. Louis, I don't think they've got enough.
Well, you can't ever count them out, but they've just been too inconsistent.
I can't see him making up 5 games in 5 weeks.
You got to get on a roll. You got to win 6, 7 in a row.
Yeah, I don't think they can do that.
You're not having a pitching, I don't think.
I still believe that the Reds can get on a roll, but it's getting late, and they just
haven't
can't
done it yet.
They just continue to get close to where it looks like they're going to get ready to get going, and then they lose 3 in a row. That is.
And the Cubs are the same way. They get up there close to the 500 mark, and they need to win that game to get to the 500 mark, and they can't do it.
Yeah.
So let's face it, if the Braves collapse, there's going to be a really poor wild card team. And they're not too good because of all the injuries.
Yeah. I still, like I said, I still believe the Braves are going to get it. Because they're still, even with all the injuries, they're still a more trustworthy team than some of these other ones.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. All right. Dennis had a question as we kind of round out the show here. Dennis saw somebody last night in concert that he believes was drunk. And so his question is not a pop-up concert, but like an actual concert. Have you ever went to an actual concert where you thought the singer was under the influence?
No, I don't think so.
I would say you
but
have.
I haven't been to a concert in 100 years. So.
I would say you have. I would say I have. I would say everybody listening has. I would say 90% of concerts you go to, they're under the influence. It's just a matter of how much.
Either one of the band members or they.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the question would be, you could tell it. You know.
I would say that's just it. Noticeably under the influence, probably only a couple times that I have. Maybe twice. Yeah.
Can't remember the words or something like that.
Yeah. But all of them are under the influence of something.
Well, it's just the tricks of the trade.
Yeah. I'll never forget, there's a guy, and he's not local, but he's kind of a smaller outfit, Jason Bolin, and he was known for being drunk at every concert, and he got sober. He had a huge problem. So he got sober. And so we went and watched him when he was sober, and we walked in and it's like, holy shit, he's lost like 80 pounds. I didn't even recognize the guy. And he got up there and he started, and we looked at each other like, this guy is unbelievable. He's so good. But we never really thought that because he wasn't so good when he was hammered at the playing of the concert. You liked it and you knew the songs, you sang along, but this was like, oh shit, no, he's really talented musically. So
yeah,
that was funny. Yeah. I think it is abnormal, Dennis, what you were describing, like the guy was noticeably drunk. That doesn't happen.
No, because most of them have done it so much they can handle it.
Right. You know? Yeah. But it does happen. I mean, I've had it. I've seen that before, but it is more rare for sure. Yeah. So, all right. You got anything else?
I do not.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Do we have time? Yeah, we got time. So I did want to mention one hockey note. If you follow which probably just me is the only one that would follow this. But I'll say it anyway. So the Blues, St. Louis Blues, our Blues did something very rare, something that's only happened 12 times since 2006. And that is go after players that are restricted free agents. So this is kind of an unwritten rule not to do it. But the Blues went after 2 players from the Oilers that are restricted free agents, and they got them. So what happens in the NHL, if you make an offer sheet to a restricted free agent, the team that has that player has 7 days to match the offer. And if they match, then they get to keep them and you don't get them.
Okay.
And if they don't match, you have to send them a compensation depending on how much you paid them in a form of a draft pick. So that's why it doesn't happen very often. The rule is meant for players drafted by organizations to stay in those organizations for an allotted amount of time. Well, the Blues got bold, and the Blues offered 2 guys, and they got them. And that rarely happens as well. Usually those contracts are matched. So a very rare thing happened in the NHL, and it happened with us. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I was very happy that we got them.
One of them because I know of, and I don't follow as much as you do. Got to ask yourself, why didn't they match the offers?
Yeah, Philip Broberg was the big key to the of the 2 players. Holloway, the other guy, it was just like he hasn't done a whole lot, but Broberg definitely a guy that was very good for Edmonton in the playoffs, extremely good. They didn't match because they didn't have the cap space. The Blues were very smart. They offered the forward a couple million, and Edmonton could probably clear $2 million, but they offered Broberg almost $5 million. They couldn't clear it. So when it happened, they were like, they will probably match Holloway, but they're not going to match Broberg because the Blues offered him too much money. So he went. I mean, Armstrong went and snaked these guys. There's no.
He did.
He was,
and he's good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw his comments on it. I thought it was hilarious. But it's interesting. Now, will the NHL hold it against the Blues to go against this thing, what they did? Or is that going to?
There could be some retaliation from teams, but oh well, if there is. I mean, the deal that people were worried about, I was like, what young player that's a restricted free agent that you're really worried about on our team?
I don't think we have one.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter. And I think Doug Armstrong knew that as well. So
I was telling that to your niece last night. I said, we don't have anybody that anyone would want.
No.
Or that we could don't want to part with. So
yeah, exactly. So anyway, that was a very interesting thing. I wanted to bring that up. So all right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. We've got blinkers off coming up 32 minutes. Travers week is here. We will do blinkers off. Of course, talking about the Travers. There's a ton of races everywhere, though. So we'll have a lot of
Travers not tough?
Yeah. Who you got?
Who did I pick?
I don't know.
I think I went with the female. Yeah, I did.
I did as well. Yep.
I just did it for fun. I'm not sure she's going to win.
I'll get into it on blinkers off, but
I know you will.
I'm pretty excited.
That's what I went with, and I wanted to pick fierceness, but he's the every other guy, so this would be the one he doesn't run good in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then good old Sierra Leone will be right up in there probably at the end. So I think it was a hard race.
Oh, it's going to be great. There's 4 horses that I think can win.
What was the other one? I can't remember the other one.
Dornoch.
Yeah. Oh, forgot about him. That's right.
Not too bad.
No, he's not.
Winner of the Belmont and the Haskell.
Listen, that whole card was
tough.
That was tough.
Yeah.
It
always is. Yeah,
it's going to be great.
It's going to be a great day of racing. We'll get all into that on Blinkers Off. Like I said, coming up 31 minutes from now. All right, guys, we're going to get off of here for now. We'll be back next week, and we actually, for the first time in what feels like forever, we're going to talk about games.
That's right. And there's some good ones.
So. Yeah, finally. So we will be back next week for that. All right, guys, have a good weekend, and I will see you back here real quick.
This is stupid. to Bet